Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda.
Hare Krishna. Welcome. We call our channel Bhagavad-gita. Here it is, because we have Bhagavad-gita. We are reading the edition, translation and commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and it's called Bhagavad-gita as it is. My name is Tika, and we are in the 4th chapter, Transcendental Knowledge. And I kind of think like that with each chapter so far. I'm thinking this is very important and interesting. So that's Bhagavad-gita, obviously. I'm going to read text 16. Kim karma kimma karmeti kavayopyatra mohitaha tate karma pravakshyami yajgyatva mokshyase shubhat. Even the intelligent are bewildered in determining what is action and what is inaction. Now I shall explain to you what action is, knowing which you shall be liberated from all misfortune. So liberation, when we come to understanding Krishna consciousness, Bhakti Yoga, then liberation is not the goal. Liberation is even not such a big deal. Yet, from the material perspective, liberation is the highest goal. So, yes, these nuances. When Krishna speaks the Bhagavad-gita, we don't just get a sweeping understanding or some details. We get a very balanced and, we get the big picture, and we get a lot of understanding all over the scale. So, purport. Action in Krishna consciousness has to be executed in accord with the example of previous bona fide devotees. This is recommended in the 15th verse. Why such action should not be independent will be explained in the text to follow. So the 15th verse was, all the liberated souls in ancient time acted with this understanding of my transcendental nature. Therefore you should perform your duty following in their footsteps. So that is quite intelligent. When you see something has been put into practice and it has been successful, and you have a desire to achieve the same sort of success, then you can take some, you can learn something from that. To act in Krishna consciousness, one has to follow the leadership of authorized persons who are in a line of disciplic succession, as explained in the beginning of this chapter. The system of Krishna consciousness was first narrated to the sun god. The sun god explained it to his son Manu. Manu explained it to his son Ikshvaku, and the system is current on this earth from that very remote time. Therefore, one has to follow in the footsteps of previous authorities in the line of disciplic succession. Otherwise, even the most intelligent man will be bewildered regarding the standard actions of Krishna consciousness. For this reason, the Lord decided to instruct Arjuna in Krishna consciousness directly. Because of the direct instructions of the Lord to Arjuna, anyone who follows in the footsteps of Arjuna is certainly not bewildered. So yes, what is all this following about? Are we not allowed to follow our heart, to create, to determine our own path? Of course, this whole material world is a place where we can do exactly everything we want. But as soon as those actions infringe on somebody else's right or opportunities, then we will have some reactions. Even actions that don't seem to affect anyone else may actually do so. And therefore, when it comes to Krishna consciousness, it is very useful to follow the examples of those in the past and even in the present that have a bigger picture, a deeper realization, a higher level of advancement. It's not just that we want to just follow someone because we're told to do it, but it is this point here of the Bhagavad-gita comes when Arjuna is having questions, he's having doubts, he's questioning his whole life, actually, this life that has culminated in this battle. And then when we can agree on some basic points, I'm not the body, I'm a spirit soul, whatever actions and thoughts and desires that spring from the combination of senses that create this body and influences me as a soul to identify with it, they may not really be me. They may just be kind of a reflex. So therefore, to break out of that identification, we want to listen to somebody who has the actual realization, the actual identification of the spiritual nature. And also, since Krishna consciousness is not just a path, it's not just a liberation, it's not just something, a different level of consciousness. For me, it's a personal thing. It's a relationship between me and God. And if we are invited to go for that, we are invited to try. But we also want to understand that that relationship between me and God, I'm already one person, and Krishna is also already one person. He's not our imagination or our invention or our creative input or inspiration. He's actually there as a person. And if we want to get closer to him, we want to know him as he is. And if we want to engage in that loving relationship, we want to understand what he likes. If we bring someone a gift, then we can do it in many different ways. Of course, a very thoughtless person doesn't bring a gift at all. Or somebody, they pass by the petrol station and they grab a bunch of flowers. And, flowers, why not? It's always good. Here are some flowers in plastic. Bam. Or somebody else wants to do a more impressive gift. They buy the most expensive of everything. But somebody who actually knows that person knows, oh, he's like that. He likes these kind of flowers, but not those because he's allergic. He likes that kind of ring, but not that one because, well, I'm going to say allergic again because I'm not so creative today. So when we want to relate to someone and give a gift or approach them, we are happy to have some knowledge and understanding, and if we don't, and maybe we ask their friends, I was thinking to bring some fruits. Does he like fruits? I said, no, actually, the only thing he ever eats is other things. So like that. With Krishna, in the ultimate issue of pure devotional service, we need to know Krishna. And when we don't know Krishna, then we are very happy to find other people who do know him, and then they can guide us. We're going to go and visit Krishna in his beautiful house for his birthday party, so we brought some presents, but we don't know where their house is. But his other friends, they can show us. Oh, he's right over there. So in the same way, even these questions about action and inaction that are to some extent spiritual, to some extent material, the law of karma, we're not going to invent the law of karma, but we are actually constantly influenced by it. Everything that we receive in this world, everything we have in this world, is more or less a result of our previous actions, karma. And everything we do here create the next step. So in a material sense, we don't want to go around creating bad karma, because then we make other souls, people in this world, we make them suffer, and that suffering will come right back to us. But we don't start to take up Krishna consciousness just because we want to avoid suffering. Even if that's what we want to do, still we need to have some knowledge. What causes suffering and what doesn't cause suffering? We cannot invent it. We cannot... It's like laws of nature. We have gravity. Nobody knows how it works, but we know that it does work. And we cannot just decide, no, I want to invent a different gravity. Whenever I drop my cup, it's going to fall upwards. It's not going to fall upwards. It doesn't matter how creative I am and how much inspiration I have. It's not going to change the laws of nature. Similarly with karma, it's better to know it. And to know it, we can study the scriptures, but also we can take advice and guidance from somebody who does know. And especially when it comes to Krishna consciousness, because we can come pretty far with our own intelligence, our own attempts at understanding the world, at observing and drawing conclusions. But we cannot go outside this material world. We can conclude that there must be something outside this world. We can conclude that everything here is temporary and that which is spiritual is eternal. But what exactly that spiritual eternal existence is like, we cannot imagine. Krishna, he's a beautiful boy with a bluish hue, wearing yellow silken garments and playing a flute, being extremely charming and also quite mischievous. He's a personality, and in a million years we couldn't just come up with that. We couldn't just decide, yes, I'm going to realize God now, he must be like this. We don't know that unless he introduces himself to us, and the way he introduces himself to us is through his devotees, his friends, his beloved companions. So that's actually how it works. It is said that one cannot ascertain the ways of religion simply by imperfect experimental knowledge. Actually, the principles of religion can only be laid down by the Lord himself. Dharmang tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. Bhagavatam 6.3.19. No one can manufacture a religious principle by imperfect speculation. One must follow in the footsteps of great authorities like Brahma, Shiva, Narada, Manu, the Kumaras, Kapila, Prahlad, Bhishma, Shukadev Goswami, Yamaraj, Janaka, and Bali Maharaj. So they are mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. If you know about them, good. If you haven't heard about them, we will come back to them over and over, some more than others. They know these things because they're already in that position where they have seen the truth. So therefore, when we listen to them, we don't just take things out of context. We get connected to that path and that knowledge. And it's not just a tradition. It is a tradition also, but it's more than that. It's the directions to the absolute truth, which, when we find them, we also do realize them. But in order to realize them, we might need someone to point them out to us. By mental speculation, one cannot ascertain what is religion or self-realization. Therefore, out of causeless mercy to his devotees, the Lord explains directly to Arjuna what action is and what inaction is. Only action performed in Krishna consciousness can deliver a person from the entanglement of material existence. So there it is. I think I will read one more verse. Text 17. Karmano yapi bodhavyang chavi karmanaha akarmanascha bodhavyang gahana karmano gatihi. The intricacies of action are very hard to understand. Therefore, one should know properly what action is, what forbidden action is, and what inaction is. Purport. If one is serious about liberation from material bondage, one has to understand the distinction between action, inaction, and unauthorized action. One has to apply oneself to such an analysis of action, reaction, and perverted action because it is a very difficult subject matter. To understand Krishna consciousness and action according to its modes, one has to learn one's relationship with the Supreme. That is, one who has learned perfectly knows that every living entity is an eternal servitor of the Lord, and that consequently one has to act in Krishna consciousness. The entire Bhagavad-gita is directed toward this conclusion. Any other conclusion against this consciousness and its attendant action are vikarmas, or prohibited actions. To understand all this, one has to associate with authorities in Krishna consciousness and learn the secret from them. This is as good as learning from the Lord directly. Otherwise, even the most intelligent person will be bewildered. Yes. So these intricacies of action and inaction, in this sense, we do some activities, but in the karmic sense, some of them have a reaction. They have a result in this material world, and some of them don't. Any action done for Krishna does not create a chain of continuous results in this world, because it is not done under that type of law. Like we were saying last time, even in Sweden, the law is like that. If the king does something, even against the laws of the country, he cannot be brought to court because the laws it's in the laws that we cannot use the laws to give him some reaction. And then in the same way, the laws in this world, in a much grander sense, are all created by Krishna. They all belong to Krishna. And when those actions are performed under his guidance, according to his desires, they do not bring a reaction that we have to personally accept by staying in this material world. They are on the personal platform. Like you go out in this world, you do work, you get paid. You do something criminal, you get a sentence. But if you go to the birthday party, I'm all about birthday parties today, I don't know why, of that king, and you give him a present, he's not going to pay you for it. And he's not going to throw you in prison, because it's a personal interaction. So with Krishna, when we're acting in connection to him, it's not part of these laws, of these regulations in this world that keep creating reactions. So that's where we want to go. And how do we go there? By having someone show us how it works in practice. It's a nice theory. We can all accept it in theory, I hope. But to put it into practice, we need more personal guidance and an understanding that can be given to us from a person who already has that knowledge. And vikarma means actions that are quite terrible, that will bring on much more bad reactions. So we need to have this understanding so we can calibrate our activities in this existence in such a way that we can live here peacefully, but we can also see a little bit of the bigger picture, and we can be practically engaged in relationship to Krishna, not as a theory, but as a dynamic part of our lives. So that's the knowledge Krishna has given Arjuna, in order that this knowledge can also be there for us, even now, 5,000 years later. So that's our Bhagavad-gita, and that's how practical it is. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for watching. We aim for updates every Tuesday and Friday. Please come back. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down there. We also have some links and information for you. And there is, of course, the subscribe button. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
I'm a Hare Krishna, and I approve this message. Subscribe.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama.